It's not getting it.
And welcome to the Loft Party Podcast, where, of course, it's about good times, good people, good talk. And I am your host, panel moderator, Rio. And let's introduce the panel. Of Dave Tiemann, who is normally on our panel today. He is out today, so we're sending a lot of love to him. He's got a couple issues that he wants to get taken care of before we have him back on the panel. But our returning champion, Chris O'Connor, co-owner of Liquid 9 Broadcast Media Production, is here on the panel holding down his position. We have Lane Boland, wealth manager. He is back with us. Even after we interviewed him, which means he must actually like the podcast. Jesse Pringle, the creator and writer of Kill 'Em All Kansas City and soon Kill 'Em All Los Angeles mobile web series that is phenomenal. If you haven't checked it out yet, podcasters, please go check that out. We have a bartender extraordinaire, Ben Roberts, who is back from his hiatus because he had some things he wants to deal with, and we will probably touch on that slightly. And we have new to the podcast today, Dave Elliott. He is a builder. He is the owner of C&P Construction. And he's going to be joining them. So if you hear us say Big Dave, we are talking about Dave Elliott.
Or sage elder statesman for the day.
He should have like girls.
And of course, as always, the anonymous female, because she doesn't want you to know her name. So I want to thank everybody for coming back yet again for another edition of the Loft Party Podcast. So we're going to get right into our first question of the day, because I think these two questions are why we do this probably in the first place. And that is, so what are we smoking? And we'll start with our new guy. We'll start with Dave.
We're smoking an LFD Airbender by Lido Gomez. This is a Dominican cigar made out of their Dominican factory. And it is just a great medium-bodied to mid-bodied smoke, and just goes down like cream. I would recommend it to anybody. LFD Airbender.
Sounds good. Chris.
I went back to the Ligo Privada number 9 from last week. I really enjoyed it. I thought it was very tasty.
You sounded pretty hyped about that last week.
I was hyped, and I think I found my new favorite.
Okay, all right. I'm about to try one of those. When listening back to the podcast, I even was like, man, that sounds kind of tasty. I'm about to try that. Lane?
You know, today I stuffed my pipe with Sir Walter Raleigh, which is a very light-bodied tobacco blend of Virginias and Carolinas that it's just really easy to puff on.
Yeah, if I forgot to mention podcasters, Lane, though he does smoke cigars, he is primarily a pipe smoker. I think he thinks it makes him look distinguished, but he smokes one nonetheless.
Wayne, no Prince Albert today?
No Prince Albert.
Oh, just checking. All right.
So Jesse and Ben are not smoking today, I've noticed. Okay. Ben's giving me the scratchy throat symbol. We're going to air quote that one, ladies and gentlemen, out there. Air quote that one.
Mario, for Jesse, I didn't have a chance to run by the humidor before I came.
Okay.
So I figured I would supplement with 2 drinks.
Okay.
Which
that
we'll
happens.
get to.
That happens.
Yeah.
Which, and I know I never ask, and the only reason I never ask podcasters is because I'm sure you're probably going, why does he never ask the anonymous female what she's smoking? Because she doesn't smoke, ladies and gentlemen. Don't
Only
ruin
on extremely special occasions.
extremely special.
Like podcast now.
Like Loft Party Podcast.
Mario's birthday, New Year's.
Loft Party
things
Podcast.
like
All right, there we go. All right.
Yeah.
Those are your 3 special occasions.
Every Monday.
There you go. So that leaves me, and today I brought up a couple of things. One, we have some friends, and where did they go on vacation? Because I can't remember.
They went to, I thought they went to Dominican.
Yes, to the Dominican Republic. And they brought me back a Cuban, it's a Guantanamera.
Guantanamera.
A Guantanamera Habana. And this is my first time smoking it. A lot of Cubans have really rough looking wrapping, but they're really either going to be really smooth, mild smokes, or usually pretty serious smokes because they do a lot of Maduros. This is very mild smoke and kind of perfect for podcast night. And also, I am doing a repeat of a former podcast. I am doing another Mi Amor because that was delicious, and I would like to smoke another one of those just because that's
La
what.
Roma de Cuba.
See, this is why we asked Dave to come up to the podcast.
This is the accent.
Yeah.
Man, it just rolls off the top.
He sounds so fluent. Which leads us into our next question for the podcasters. What are we drinking?
All right.
And I did switch those on purpose. Normally I ask what we're drinking, what we're smoking.
Yes.
But today I wanted to say, what are we smoking, what are we drinking?
I think we should leave it at one spot tonight.
You know what? I think we probably
This
should
isn't a bad
because, as I said, Ben is the bartender extraordinaire, and he brought something special for us.
I see.
I brought in a bottle of Lagavulin 16. It's a classic Scotch. It's an Islay single malt from the southern shore of the Islay region in Scotland. It is one of my personal favorites and one of the favorites of a dear friend of mine that just passed recently, and his name is Brian Wilkie, and we're drinking in his honor. So,
Here's the Brian.
There's the Brian.
Cheers to Brian.
Gotcha.
Pour me some of that.
yeah.
All right.
Surprised you didn't do it already.
There you go, sir.
May I make a shameless plug for a future sponsor?
Can you?
Yes. Well, before I pour that delicious Lagavulin, I need to finish this glass of John Rieger whiskey. And the thing is, what I heard and what I like about John Rieger whiskey is John Rieger may or may not be planning to run for president. And he promises to have a caucus so big, it is bigger than Hillary Clinton's and
we are done
Donald Trump
talking to Lane
Trump's
and
put
this segment
together.
of the podcast. See, have we cut Lane off yet?
I'd vote for that, man.
See?
Have we cut Lane off yet?
About how big the caucus is?
See, and this is why there needs to be a moderator out there in podcast land. If you leave these guys to their own devices, they will go off the rails very fast.
I'm just saying he's promising to have the majority vote.
Last week we interviewed Jesse Pringle and we talked about his show, Kill 'Em All Kansas City. And I don't want to go back into it too deep, but I do want to say, thank you again for Jesse coming and sitting back with the panel. And if you haven't yet, please go to YouTube, type in Kill 'Em All Kansas City, and watch season 1 and season 2. I think you're going to be blown away. It's a crime drama told in bite-sized format, 8 to 10 minute episodes. Really, really strong writing, really strong acting, and shot right here in Kansas City. I like I say, I only really get impressed when it's something to get impressed by, and this was impressive. So please check that out. So I want to go straight from that into this week in pop culture. A couple things. One, something really near and dear to me. The rest of the panel may not know this person at all. Although I do think, I forgot to mention, we do have an audience this week in the podcast. Say hello, audience.
Hello.
We only have.
Hello.
There we go. There we go. This may only have something to do with me, but legendary radio personality. He had a syndicated radio show, and growing up in Chicago on WGCI, 107.5 WGCI, he had the morning show. Him and Tom Joyner, who also has a hugely popular syndicated show now, and So it saddens me to say, in the reason that it will probably come as even a surprise to the panel and the anonymous female, because I don't think I've ever said this to anybody before, but I'm going to share it with everybody now. The reason that I'm doing what I'm doing is because I woke up every morning and I heard Tom Joyner and Doug Banks every morning on the radio, and they made me think, man, that's a great fucking job.
Right, that is a great job.
I want to do that. You know, I want to be able to talk to people and entertain them and make them laugh and
Get their day started right.
exactly. So that passing means something to me. Like I say, even if it doesn't mean anything to anybody else in the room, because I do think we get Doug Banks' show here in Kansas City, and he definitely may not have been as big a name as Tom Joyner, but for me, growing up, as he used to be called, the Dan Ryan head. He was Dan Ryan is an expressway in Chicago. The Dan Ryan head was him and Tom were definitely my heroes. So I want to say rest in peace to him. He passed away. Actually, I heard about it today, so I think he must have been this morning that they found out. He passed away at 57.
That's young.
Yeah, it is. So on to much lighter notes. Last week we kind of we were kind of talking about, from the shuffle, we were talking about Chance the Rapper, and he's an independent guy who's not really, he hasn't signed any deals, but he's just making a tremendous amount of noise. So right after the podcast, I noticed 2 or 3 things. He was throwing out the first pitch at the home opener for the White Sox. His band is called Sox, it's a social experiment. And then they were doing a redesign, a limited edition redesign of White Sox caps that were kind of interpretations of the White Sox logo and Chance the Rapper's band's logo. So they were like 4 different versions of that. And then I saw that he was. Yeah. I mean, this, like I said, for a kid who's without a record deal, he's just done some amazing things. And then I noticed that he's one of the headliners for one of the biggest radio stations for hip hop and R&B in New York is Hot 97, and they do this huge summer show called Summer Jam, and he is headlining their festival stage this year.
Is he paying you?
He is not paying me. He just happens to be a fellow Chicagoan.
He's just his younger cousin.
I think we can negotiate this.
My question is he going to do Arrowhead?
Not yet.
No, I'm just
not
checking.
yet.
Okay.
Arrowhead.
With Guns N' Roses.
Right.
Really?
That was my thought.
He can open for Guns N' Roses.
No, they're doing it this year.
7 people.
I know, they can open for him.
Oh, open, okay.
I noticed this week that which was warmed my heart and should warm the anonymous female's heart, and probably 1 or 2 other people here on the panel. NWA got inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame.
That's awesome.
This week. So yeah, I was kind of watching some of the speeches with the original group, and they brought out Eazy-E's wife and his mother to accept with them. I thought that was really cool.
But somebody disputed that.
It makes you wonder what the definition of rock and roll is anymore. Like, it's that is the only exception I would have to the rule, is where do genres become relevant in terms of the conversation of a Rock and Roll Hall of Fame?
Well, they need to change the name of it.
Contemporary
Well, I
music
mean,
Hall
because
of Fame.
really, it's
I would
really the
just
Music
rock
Hall
it.
of Fame.
Well,
more than
No,
it
but
is-
they're making it so broad.
But it is so
Yeah.
interesting that
Yeah.
because is it a Rock and Roll Hall of Fame? I don't know.
Well, as the old guy, and also a charter member of the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, we joined the second week they were open.
1 second. We did not know this here on the panel, ladies and gentlemen. This is a perfect tie-in. Dave.
Start taking notes.
as a charter member, and an older guy who just definitely follows the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame and the inductions and everything comes in and people that come in there. I think that you have to recognize it as the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, but it is also this genuine music that people that made impacts, bands that made impacts. And NWA, whether you liked them or not, and I had some reservations at first,
They made an impact.
they made impacts.
Yes,
And
they
they
did.
changed a culture.
Before the movie. or
And
after
if you
the-
look at most of the bands and most of the people that have been inducted in some way
They've
or
been trying to get
another,
them in there for a while.
they have made differences and made impact on
NWA.
Oh
culture.
yeah, they
Been trying to-
sonically
Yeah.
changed hip hop.
No doubt about it.
Yeah.
Well, and that's exactly my point. I would agree that they
Yeah,
sonically
I think
changed
you have to
hip
have so
hop.
many votes.
And if you want to be the Music Hall of Fame, I'm 1,000% in favor because they deserve every award and accolade that they get because they really did not only change music, they changed culture, they changed everything that's come after it.
Yeah.
And I'm 1,000%.
Yeah, now I will, and I kind of agree with you that that the name, and because of the fact that they do other genres, has always confused me, but it doesn't bother me.
You don't see him throwing in a lot of jazz guys. You don't see him throwing in a ton of.
Now, when's Yanni gonna
Well,
get his?
That's
Yeah.
a
I hope
really good
not.
point.
Well,
That's a really
wait,
good point.
Have any of you been to the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, so what do you find when you go down there? Howlin' Wolf.
Yeah.
You have all the old blues artists, Betsy Smith.
But you would.
But so this,
That's a little bit different.
you see, this is where it started off in different venues, you know? That was the base that brought it all up, and then it got taken over by different rock and rolls. This is, what I'm trying to say is that the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame and everything that's come out of rock and roll is a constantly evolving animal.
The only thing I would say is that I think you could make a direct connection between Howlin' Wolf and rock and roll and the origins of it, bass and blues and all those kinds of things. When you start to get into hip hop, it becomes this completely different world, which I love, and I'm not, and it's some of my favorite music. But at the same time, it's almost like a completely separate art form that
Well-
doesn't have the roots in a Howlin' Wolf or honestly even a Bessie Smith or jazz chords or anything else. Like it's completely separate, and I like it. You know, but it's just a weird vernacular thing to me of, is it a Rock and Roll Hall of Fame or is it a Music Hall of Fame? And I would personally love to see them go, no, it's a Music Hall of Fame. We're going to acknowledge everybody that's made an impact culturally.
But hip hop's a little bit different than rap. There is a difference though.
Uh-oh.
NWA talked about what was going on in their lives and what their everyday lives were, and then they had a good beat behind it, they had music behind it. You know, there was different things that NWA incorporated, and then there were so many different groups like Arrested Development that took off, and just think of the music that they added to what they did. They weren't around for a long time, but I liked Arrested Development because they incorporated this music element into what they did.
All 16 of them when they were on stage. I liked it too.
I know what the old dude
Well, they disagree on some things, but I do think they have.
What
their
I did
place.
like about Arrested Development is they played their own instruments and they were making live music, and that was interesting. What I do find interesting about hip hop is the sampling and the less live instrumentation. It's much more electronic. At some point you wonder.
Yeah, to me,
is
I
that
do kind of
follow
think
to
of
rock
it as
and
the
roll?
Well,
kind of father
Okay.
of electronic music.
And
God
there's
help
some
me if they
difference.
let Katy Perry in there, I'm out.
I've
But
got
I say as one of the musicians at the table.
I've
Yes.
got a charm in. Okay, so to me, it becomes, okay, first of all, Steve Miller
Sure.
was the one publicly protesting or criticizing, rather, their involvement in the Hall of
Surprised it
Fame.
wasn't Don Henley,
Right.
my arch
So,
enemy.
you know, with that said, in my opinion, Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, describe Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, like what Chris said.
Yeah.
Should it just be Music Hall of Fame?
Yep.
Maybe they should just establish a new entity and be
Yeah.
like, these are the greatest of all time, or of all genres.
Yeah.
To me, I support their induction in the Rock and Roll
Yeah.
Hall of Fame because
Yeah.
there is nothing else to describe something
Yeah.
broader.
But I agree.
Have every award
I
award.
agree with why you're saying the groups that get inducted. It's impact groups, and
So now let me rebuttal, if I may,
yes.
Oh.
rap versus hip hop debate.
Now that is, you know what? That's almost a podcast by itself.
It's very
But
simple.
I'll allow you because
It's very simple.
Yeah.
As a songwriter,
Yes.
it's very simple. And I'll say this, okay? So for after literally doing 16 years in R&B songwriting, then
yeah.
doing pop songwriting or rock and roll songwriting or metal songwriting, it's still an interpretation artistically of one's views on the subject matter. Just like a guitar, just like the drums, it could go back to lead singer is more important than the drummer or vice versa.
But then I think you make the argument that there's not a distinction between genres, and I believe that there is. And if you're going to define yourself by a genre, then I would say then stick with the genre and the roots of the genre versus going out into other things. I would have zero issue with being in the Music Hall of Fame, and I would love that. And my God, and again, I'll say once again, they deserve every accolade that comes their way. What I would say is there's a difference between taking an awesome sample and looping it and putting beats behind it and doing all that and going, okay, that's the same as rock and roll. And I would say I would find that different.
Creatively, it is very
The
different.
process is exceptionally different, and I don't even think they have the roots in the same spot, to be perfectly honest.
Yeah.
And, you know,
I mean,
that's
hip hop
what-
is born from people who don't know how to do anything else, and they don't have access to anything else. So, you know, because I've had this conversation several times. So you've got,
Metallica was
you
too.
know, think about it like this: you've got rock and let me not just even single out rock. Any instrument-based genre means you had at some point access to an instrument and learned how to play it.
Drum machine is an instrument.
Well, and I will go with you
I mean,
on
it is
that.
now.
I will go with you on that. But I think at the birth of hip hop, it was literally just two turntables and whatever breaks were on the record.
But you had some, but you also had a lighter note.
Which is a massive amount of creativity, but I think Chris is right that they're born from a different spot.
I would
On
never
a
argue that
lighter
it's a-
note, though,
Yes.
you got Run DMC and Aerosmith.
I was gonna say.
Crossover extraordinaire.
Ahead of their time.
Yeah, way ahead
That
of
was,
time.
that
way
was
ahead.
awesome.
Way ahead of time. Way
That
ahead of
was
time.
awesome.
Completely agree. I just think it'd be weird to put Run DMC in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame.
Although they already are.
Right.
I agree. I'm not disagreeing. I just find it to be a weird.
Yeah, no, I do understand what
Get
you're
rid of-
saying.
get rid of this thing.
The semantics of the name.
That's
yeah,
the only
versus-
thing that bothers me.
You know, so off of one subject that really could spin to another topic that really can spin.
Well, how's Johnny Cash in there? He's a gospel singer.
Technically, he is a gospel singer, and we're not going to go down that rabbit hole lane. Stop trying to go down that rabbit hole lane.
I ain't seen the sunshine, I don't know when. I'm sorry.
All right, so I saw this week that Kanye's album Life of Pablo became the first album to go #1 purely on stream.
And that deal was good with whoever he did that deal with.
I need something to tune me in here, okay? Because I'm old and I don't understand Kanye at all.
Love my favorite.
Okay,
He is-
I happened to catch him on the Grammys a couple of years ago. Man,
Christ.
he stood in this circle in the middle of this stage, bent over, speaking
Punching Taylor
stuff that I couldn't even understand. Now, I admit I got 2 hearing aids, and I don't hear very good. But what the hell was that? I did not get his... And it was the first performance I've ever seen of him. Okay, so I am very limited in my overall
Well,
cabinet of
Kanye
what
is-
Kanye
I'm
is.
trying to think
Kanye
of what
is
performance
very-
that
But it was-
was.
Oh, I know what it was.
He had a
was in
hood
the
on,
box.
he was bent over and
Love
It was
singing.
all white
I
and he was
loved
in
it.
the box.
It was
Yeah,
great.
yeah,
You
yeah.
thought he was
It was
good.
right
I
after
That
the
was
first
that podcasters, if I'm not mistaken, he was performing Wolves on the Life of Pablo album, way before there was a Life of Pablo album. And to answer you, and one of our audience members has to leave. Say goodbye, audience member.
See ya.
We'll see y'all. This is great.
Thanks for stopping by, come up again.
Moving forward anytime.
It was nice meeting everyone.
Great to
See
meet you.
you.
All right.
Sure.
So, to jump in with what Dave's question or comment is that he does not really understand Kanye. And I agree that a lot of people don't really understand Kanye. I will say this.
Who's the audience?
I will say this for Kanye. I kind of get Kanye West. I really do kind of get Kanye West. One, from not only from the same city, we're proximity close to like where I grew up and where he grew up, and so.
Which I admit is different, totally, than I grew
Okay,
up.
so the way you kind of market an act now, or at least when Kanye was coming up, you had a distinct persona. I think everybody in hip hop knows like Jay-Z's persona. He is the hustler, and I think Kanye's persona was never stated, but I think Kanye's persona is misunderstood artist. I think that is his persona. And he will take his art to levels that you probably only understand like a year later. I've every single album of Kanye's has gone platinum. Even the stuff that people were like, "What the fuck is this?" when he dropped it. But about a year later, people go, "Oh shit, that was brilliant." And that's kind of Kanye's. I think he's so far ahead of the curve. I think when he first came out, he was, like the curve is here, and maybe he was here, So you could still see him, and you probably could catch up. But I think as he's been going, he's getting so much further ahead of the curve that you just don't even see it until 6 months, a year later, when you go, "Oh, I get it."
But you see, that's my rebuttal.
That's what I love.
About that's what I had to say about earlier the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame or whatever subject. It's an artistic deal, man. I mean, no one can judge how ahead of their time a particular artist is. It's like Jim Morrison or Jimi Hendrix.
I'll give you the greatest example in the world.
What about
In
somebody?
1963, you're talking "Please Please Me" from the Beatles. In 1967, all of a sudden you're doing "Strawberry Fields Forever." It doesn't make any freaking sense in the world. Like, those are completely
different bands.
And they
Yeah.
took a step.
Well,
every
I
time.
grew up in Northeast Missouri. I don't talk like I grew up in Northeast Missouri, but I grew up there. And so we had two AM stations we could get. WLS out of Chicago,
Oh yeah.
yeah. And then we could get KAAY out of Little Rock.
Okay.
Okay?
All right.
These were funny stations that we could get back in the 70s. And so KAAY out of Little Rock had a progressive rock show called Beaker Street back in the day. And they would pay Yes, and they would pay some old Genesis. And of course they played Zeppelin back in the day, and they would play these type of groups that are similar to what you're saying about Kanye, and this is the only way I can relate to it.
Yeah.
They were ahead of the game, of course, Pink Floyd.
Yeah.
All these groups were way ahead of the game, especially Genesis. Genesis was off the chart. I mean, he was singing songs about castration and come out dressed in a sack of balls and everything else. Peter Gabriel was this off the chart dude, and then of course he went on, became more commercialized, and then of course Phil Collins kind of took over with Genesis, and they came out with Abacab, and started coming up with this, but some of them were still some fantastic music.
Phil Collins and
You look at
Don
Home by the Sea
Phil Collins
and
and
things
Don
like
Henley
that.
should be on their own separate island full of B minuses. Just write songs I think are gonna make.
But my point being is that I think it's a similar situation.
Yeah.
As an old guy, that's how I could relate to it.
No, and I think you're absolutely right. I think there are some, no matter the genre, I think there are some guys, some bands that are just ahead of the curve.
And Kanye is artistic in a way that some artists aren't.
This is why I love him to death. It's not just, I'm going to drop an album, I'm going to see how it goes. It's hyper visual.
Yeah.
It is exceptionally well produced. It goes beyond that into a very social, like, listen, we're what, 6 people sitting around in Kansas City 7 talking about Kanye right now? The dude's done something right. Because I guarantee you, he's not talking about us in LA right now. So whatever he has done is work.
Kill them all, maybe. LA.
Kill them all, maybe. Kill them all, he's probably
Once he
talking
gets all
about.
this podcasting might be.
Well, you know, in my opinion, coming from the artist side, it's an artist's job to be an artist. It's a fan's job to follow and trust the artist,
You're
regardless
absolutely right.
of how ahead of time they are. Because
You're absolutely right.
eventually everybody's going to catch up and be like, "Damn, you remember 3 years ago or 5 years ago when this artist did this?" Man,
But
I
I give you a great example for Kanye anyway. I remember when he did 808s and Heartbreaks. I remember we were watching the awards, and it was the end of the awards show, and they're like, with his brand new single, ladies and gentlemen, Kanye West, and he's on top of this huge wall, and we don't really understand what's going on, and all of a sudden you hear that doom 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 doom
Right.
doom doom, and I was like, oh shit, because I knew something special was about to happen. And then when he started with the "I'm not loving you," I was like, "Oh, he's hit it. Like he's found that next level that nobody's found yet." And I think that's what he does. I think he finds, and not necessarily that he's purposefully always looking for it, but I think he finds that next level. And I fully agree with you as the musicians at the table. It is. If you are a fan, it is up to you to trust that artist, to know that, they're not just, look, I've been taken in by some crap albums. Don't get me wrong. I was riding in the car with a friend of mine, and when they hear this, they're going to crack right the fuck up. Riding in the car with a friend of mine, and the Mr. Dalvin album came out. Mr. Dalvin was part of Jodeci, and he decided to do a solo album. And literally halfway through the second song, I ejected the tape and threw it directly out of the movie car window because that shit was awful.
It was the tape?
It was the tape because that shit was awful. No, it might even been a CD. Either way, that shit was awful. And so I've been snookered by some bad music. But I've never once felt like I needed to expel a Kanye West album.
But it wasn't bad music to that artist.
I will throw out this, and I agree with you.
A little both.
It's a fan's responsibility to follow an artist and trust him, and I agree with you. I also a musician, dropped out of college to play in bands for years. And I also think it is the artist's responsibility to take your fans with you on that journey. And yes, every album should be a next step. But when you step too far, you deserve to lose your audience.
Good point.
Because you've lost yourself.
Very good point.
And I will throw out a classic, you can make a definitive line in the sand, and I'm an alternative rock kid, and you guys know that. There was R.E.M. up till the Monster album, and then there was R.E.M. afterwards. And they didn't sell shit for records after they made that record because they went too far.
Yeah.
They just stopped being who they were as a core band.
Don't forget who your customer is. Don't forget who your customer is.
Or bring them along with you.
Yeah, you need to slowly bring them along, and I think that Kanye's actually done a pretty good job of that. I think people talk about his rants or his whatever, but like you said, there's 7 people sitting in a circle talking about Kanye West right now. He's doing something right.
Sure.
So that actually brings me to a new segment on the podcast, ladies and gentlemen, that I have purposefully kept away from the rest of the panel because I don't want them to know the questions. As a matter of fact,
Awesome.
I'm going to take them out and I'm going to read them without them seeing them. And the name of that segment is called A Few of My Favorite Things. This is a rapid fire question and answer. So you're
It's
going.
not truth or dare.
So no, you're going to be given a choice.
This is a common interrogation test.
How many have you had, Lane? We've already told Lane before the podcast started he was only going to have 2 drinks if he got obnoxious 1.5. So we're going to. So
I already poured the half.
okay, so he's done. And
Insert picture of Lane
exactly.
looking
So
like Hoover's.
nice. So this is how we play.
Secret Service.
I'm gonna ask this or that, and you can either choose or give a very short answer to describe an alternative.
Cool. All right.
So, and since we've got a big group, I'm going to throw these out to the group, and before you answer, say your name. So, night owl or morning person?
Ben, night owl. I bartend for a living.
Jesse Pringle, night owl. I work all hours of the night, just because I'm so used to it, working in bars and taverns over the years.
Lane, morning person. After 10 years in the Army, getting more done before 7 a.m. than the average person does before they finish the day. Morning person.
This is Chris, definitely a night owl, just because I'm lazy as hell, and I like to sleep in.
David, definitely a morning person. Up at 4 o'clock, I'm right with Lane. I get more done before 7 o'clock, 8
The
o'clock.
rest of the day.
And most people get done the rest of the day. It's time to go to work, baby.
All right. So that is going to be the order in which they're going to be answering, ladies and gentlemen. We won't ask them to say their names every single time,
All right.
unless you just love
I did
hearing
not hear
their
the anonymous
names.
female
She
in
did not
this.
say.
As she was trying to stay squirrely and quiet, ladies and gentlemen.
Mine depends on the company I'm with and what I'm doing.
Oh.
I can stay up all night, or I
As
can
an
get up early.
anonymous female would say.
Hey, I went through this whole list already,
Yeah,
so.
but I say she is the only person on the panel who's actually heard any of these, and actually
We
it was
tested them.
hilarious listening to her answer these questions. So next, t-shirts or jeans or suited and booted?
T-shirt and jeans.
Suited and booted.
You know what? I had a feeling you might say that.
That's
And when you see Jesse, remember, Kill 'em All, Kansas City. When you see Jesse and you watch him put a bullet in somebody's scalp, think about him saying suited and booted again. Like,
Suited and booted. Have some respect for yourself.
all right.
And anybody that's not.
All right,
Now
Army.
you should feel ashamed.
Hey,
t-shirts and jeans, because I had totally
clean up pretty well.
Dave?
Suited and booted. Dressed for success, baby.
All right.
And that look good for the ladies.
Anonymous female.
I love dressing up.
All right. So, warm weather or cold weather?
warm weather.
Warm weather.
Cold weather, I can always put on another jacket.
Okay.
Can't get any more naked than naked.
Always warm weather. We'll move to Puerto Vallarta in 5 years. I will live on the beach.
Being in the construction business, if you're working, I agree with Lane, you can fit on more clothes.
Okay.
In the summertime, they arrest you.
I'm seeing something here with the people who served in our armed forces.
Well, I'm also at.
Oh, you're right. You have
Yeah.
too. Ben has too. And the anonymous female.
Mine's,
say warm weather.
mine's warm, not hot, warm.
Yes.
Yes.
Not like 100 degrees, no.
No.
I take
Hunter's not
95
bad.
every day.
Hunter's not bad.
No.
It
Car.
depends on the humidity.
Car.
It's a very California answer.
I was born in California, so there you go.
Car's a good one.
Yeah. Car or truck
Ooh.
Oh.
or SUV.
Huh.
If I got a choice, it's an SUV.
Truck for me, for sure.
I'll take my 68 Stingray.
I have a 2007 Jeep Liberty because my blind dog loves it.
Blind.
What would you
dog.
have if you didn't have a blind dog?
I would have an Audi TT convertible.
Truck, baby.
Once again, if you get a chance to see Dave,
You would not be surprised.
you would not be surprised at all at the truck answer.
Mine's SUV.
Given your answer, sport or luxury?
Sports or what?
Or luxury.
With regards to what?
The car.
Oh,
Yeah.
The car or the truck?
He's like, hey, you moron,
The
pay
car,
attention.
the truck, or SUV, sport or luxury? Sport.
Oh, yeah.
Truck for me, it's utility with luxury, so leather seats.
Okay.
Speed.
Sport for you.
Yeah.
All right.
I'm the lowest, cheapest person here. I don't care. Just give me the basic car. I just need to get somewhere.
Economy.
That's all I need.
Sport.
Yeah.
I still think Chris is lying. I think
If
he
he
wants
had an Audi,
luxury.
he would have
Well,
luxury.
it'd be
He
fast.
full luxury.
True story. I
He
did
wants
buy-
base
I did
model.
love-
He wants
love
base
my car.
model luxury.
I did buy an
It's
Audi TT convertible. I've driven it twice, and
What would John Rieger say?
Yeah, it was young.
Is it in Chicago now?
It is in Chicago.
Okay.
And I think that's a whole separate podcast as well, ladies and gentlemen.
There's no doubt about it. You gotta have a nice big truck with leather and speed.
All right.
So mine is SUV with luxury.
As you
I
do
would,
luxury.
I would like that, yes.
All right. Being that we are in Kansas City, barbecue or steak?
Ooh.
Steak.
Steak.
As a vegetarian, I would do neither.
That's good. We needed that.
He needs a tofu book.
I would do yeah.
I have become a fan of Q39. So
Okay.
I'm going
Good
barbecue,
spot.
baby.
Barbecue.
Q39 kicks
Hold
butt.
on now. What is that?
It's
a barbecue.
Barbecue on
over on
39th Street.
39th Street.
Barbecue.
Get the
That's
ribs.
barbecue.
Barbecue.
Q39.
Q39.
It's delicious.
It's on 39th Street.
Basically
And what?
barbecue on
39th
39th
and
Street.
what, though?
Close to-
Can you
close
say
to the
neither
traffic light.
and say whiskey?
What? It's gourmet barbecue.
It is
Gourmet
good.
barbecue.
Gourmet
It's
barbecue.
really
This
Smoked?
stuff is out the world. He makes his own chipotle sausages. He has
You
apple
guys
vine
need
pulled
to-
pork. And his flavors are just
No
outstanding.
kidding.
You need to, have you ever had slaps?
Where?
Slaps?
No.
No.
It's,
Squeal like a pig.
Squeal like
We
a
also
pig.
need to try some Charlene's barbecue.
It is,
Your ribs.
it is amazing barbecue. Even
need-
there's some.
That's gonna be some of your answers for this podcast.
My-
Do the sow sound again.
That was amazing.
Okay. Do it without Lane laughing.
All right. Okay. I think we caught it. I think we caught it twice.
Mine is steak.
And steak. All right. All right. So,
No controversy.
favorite non-alcoholic beverage?
What?
We'll get to you in a minute.
What?
Ginger ale.
Really?
The audience didn't know that.
Interesting.
I love ginger ale.
I would have gone with Mountain Dew.
Hey, come on. This is a classy
For you,
podcast.
Have you done the real sugar Mountain Dew?
Yes,
Pure cane?
throwback.
That is good.
I had one 2 days ago.
That's delicious.
Yeah, Surge.
That's legit.
Yeah, I also got to buy a Surge the other day. Does anybody remember
I
Surge?
love Surge,
That's
and
legit.
yeah,
I
they
found
still make
one
it.
in a gas station on I-29.
What?
Yeah, and they...
Not the widest distributorship, but they
Right.
still make it,
Yeah.
and it's good.
No, I couldn't believe it. It was sitting there in a gas station on I-29. I was like, yep, thank you.
It's probably
And it
been
was
there
just
since 1989. but it's
pure
awesome.
sugar and caffeine. Yeah, it was amazing. Anyway, sorry.
Jesse, favorite non-alcoholic beverage?
Reverse osmosis water.
Ooh,
Okay.
wow.
I've
You want to
got-
explain to the podcasters reverse osmosis water?
I know what reverse osmosis is.
It would take a minute scientifically, but the cleanest, or basically any clean version of what
It's
our
better
body
than
is
regular
made
filtered
of.
water.
Okay.
Yeah.
Basically, negative magnet, positive magnet. In between is the water, and all the pollutants get attracted to either side.
Okay.
Yeah.
When Lane's not drinking, he's one of the smartest people we know. That's why he's on the podcast. Your favorite non-alcoholic beverage?
I would say ice to mix them up with my whiskey. So.
Some form of water.
Club soda.
Okay.
To mix
all
with my whiskey.
Okay. Chris?
Probably 3 of my meals a day are Monster Milk strawberry protein drink.
Okay.
Really?
Yep, love it.
Limeade.
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 I like limeade too, actually.
That actually
Sonic?
crossed my mind.
Sonic style or what?
No, wait, we can't
I like
exclusively say that unless
Just
it's responsible.
plain
Yes,
pure
exactly.
limeade.
A from
Phonics
scratch
say-
limeade.
Like a juice limeade. I don't want no 7-Up in it, I don't drink sodas.
All right.
Just limeade.
I just had a limeade the other day that was mind blowing. I'm trying to remember where it was. I'll let you know.
It's called Simply something I get at the store.
All right.
Simply limeade?
Yeah, just Simply. Yeah, that's it.
And then female.
Unsweetened iced tea.
Okay.
Thank you. High five for that.
Yes. Yes. I will concur on the non-sweet iced tea. Now the question everybody's been waiting on, and it is not even nearly the bottom of the list. Favorite alcoholic beverage.
Oh boy.
You don't have to get super specific.
I'll just go with my favorite cocktail, and it's an old fashioned.
All right. Good call.
Recently, or formerly been a whiskey drinker, but recently I've been a favor of Rieger Vodka Tonic
Nice.
with a squeeze of lime.
Nice.
He's running for president, you know.
Very nice. No.
If it's brown, it goes down.
That's all we need to hear from Blake. Chris?
So many ways that can go sideways. So many ways. So
Most
many
obvious answer in the world, I will shill for my own company, which I love anything but Rieger.
All right. Say that one more time.
Well, I got
Wait. 1 second. Let Chris.
Rieger gin, vodka, whiskey, obviously. Whatever they want to do is good by me.
All right.
I stayed in a cabin in Red Feather Lakes, Colorado, and there's serious issues with septic there. And there was a sign there that said, if it's yellow, let it mellow, if it's brown, flush it down. So, Wade, I have some issue with what you just said. My favorite alcoholic drink,
Yes.
which I just got a bottle of in Florida and sitting in my bar at my house down there, is the Carcionon. It's a rum. It's a 25-year rum out of Costa Rica.
I knew you were gonna say rum.
Man.
This dude is
outstanding.
a rum aficionado.
With
podcast.
the accent and everything.
Yeah, with the yeah, he is.
Big Dave, and then you get on El Salvador.
So my go-to is a gin and tonic with Hendrix.
Ooh, I like that myself too.
But my favorite is pretty much any kind of berry margarita, like blackberry, strawberry.
Okay, now hold on now. Hendrix.
Hendrix gin.
Cucumber gin.
It's a cucumber-based gin. It is delicious.
It is very good with a
Yeah.
cucumber in the summer.
Yeah.
I will say this
Instead of lime?
about Hendrix and cucumber gin. Hendrix is fantastic. I always love it. Have you tried Uncle Val's Botanical?
Wait,
don't know. I'd have to see the bottle.
before you go grab
Couldn't
bottle.
you prepare
Ben
Rieger's gin with
Ben is a
cucumber
bartender, so
slices
he was
in it?
about to go and grab a bottle to show. But before you go, since you're the first one to answer the question, the next question is your favorite place.
Favorite what?
Place.
Place.
Is this like metaphysical in my mind, physical?
My memory palace.
It's interesting.
It can be
Favorite
now your favorite place of all time.
Favorite place.
Favorite, you know, it could be your childhood bedroom. It doesn't matter. Your favorite place.
Interesting.
You know, honestly, I'm gonna go with the New Mexican Rockies.
Oh.
All right.
All right.
Yeah, spend a lot of
Are you
time.
leaving?
Very cool.
No, I'll be right back.
All
The
right.
New
Jesse?
Mexican Rockies.
I literally am wearing a ring from
Specifically.
Taos
As
right
opposed
now.
to the commercialized bullshit Colorado Rockies.
Where's your favorite place?
Jesse?
Somewhere warm, somewhere with mountains.
Warm and mountains. Okay, we'll go with that.
I know that place.
We'll
It's
go.
Playa Pimental in El Salvador.
Which Lane is trying to organize a trip.
A junket.
Excuse me, a junket.
It's already been scheduled.
Will that be your favorite place?
Oh, absolutely.
Okay, Chris.
So I'm gonna split my answer into two real quick because my everyday favorite place would be Rieger patio with my dog. But my all-time favorite place in the world is always going to be Puerto Vallarta.
Which I could guess. Because he mentions Puerto Vallarta at least once a week.
Never
Ladies and
been-
gentlemen.
Never been
least.
there.
I'll be living there very shortly.
I would say my favorite place is Acacia National Park in Maine. A place of truly stunning beauty.
All right,
Nice.
all right, I like that. And now,
Sponsored
Messina,
by
My favorite place.
In Maine.
your favorite place?
Tourism.
tourism.
Board.
Anywhere with Mario, right?
Yeah, anywhere with Mario.
Wow. Can we put air
Actually,
quotes
my-
on that?
My favorite place of all time would have to be my grandparents' house.
Okay.
Where
Yeah,
is?
you know what?
Where is?
That's a whole other level.
They lived in Kansas City off of Snybar. They have both passed, but
All right.
Okay, I know exactly where that is.
Favorite.
Back door to
That's
the
a
Royals.
podcast, by
Yeah.
what?
Favorite movie.
Well, that's very difficult.
Normally, podcast is while he's thinking. This game would only be played with newcomers, but since this is the first time we're doing this, we're going to do this with the, of course, with the entire panel.
Yeah. Rapid fire. It's not truthful if you have to think about it.
Okay, I'll go with Old Boy. It's a Korean revenge flick.
Very good.
Probably
Wow, okay.
one
No,
of my favorites.
original or
Original.
remake?
It doesn't matter. Whatever's your
Come
favorite.
on.
Original. Period.
Once Time in the West.
Yeah, that's a good
Nice.
one.
Full Metal Jacket, I thought it was a comedy until I went to basic training.
Yeah.
Okay.
I wouldn't have taken that as a comedy.
Oh, yeah.
No,
Lane would have.
I know. Like, no.
I wish you would learn.
It's the best first half of a movie ever.
Right.
Yes.
Exactly.
I'm going to classic, which I love, and I mainly just only watch on the holidays, but it's called The Bishop's Wife with Cary Grant. And it's one of those classic movies that you think is very happy, but is exceptionally very sad at the end, and has a lot of deeper meaning.
Very
than you
melancholy.
think it does.
What was it called again? I'm
It's
sorry.
called The Bishop's Wife. It was remade with Whitney Houston and Zoe Washington called The
Oh, the
Preacher's
Preacher's
Wife.
Wife. Okay.
But The
all right.
Bishop's Wife is the original with Loretta Young and Cary Grant.
Yeah.
And David
All right.
Hold on.
Debbie Does Dallas. Oh, no, I'm just kidding. I'm kidding.
Wrong podcast. Wrong podcast.
That's awesome. Not the wrong podcast. That stays majority of decisions.
No, I'm kidding. Easy Rider.
He's a
Okay.
writer.
that's
Very
Okay.
good.
I can see that.
Easy Rider,
I can
one of
see
my
that.
favorite movies.
I can see that.
I'm gonna have to say, it would really depend on
Grandma likes
what
it rough
type of
23.
movie, like romantic comedy, drama, blah. But the one that we watch all the time, that Mario's only ever got to see once, is The Quiet Man.
Ooh,
We
yep.
watch it every Christmas.
Filmed in the
Mario,
town where I
what's
was
your
born,
You know,
Really?
actually,
Dunmore,
I was
County
actually,
Galway.
I was actually going to chime in on this particular question just because, but since I've been asked by the panel, it is probably The Usual Suspects.
Yes,
Kaiser Soze.
That also creeped in my head for a second as well.
It's just a great movie.
Always
It's
fantastic.
a flipio.
Oh, yeah, right, Flippy for real. Right. All right, so this question was hinted at earlier, and yes, men and women can answer this question. So don't jump out the window and get this podcast canceled before it gets started. Good. Blonde, Lane, blonde, brunette, or redhead.
Rapid fire. Come on.
I'm-
It's not truthful if you have to think about it.
I just love that woman over there, so I'll just
She has a hair color.
Brunette.
brunette then.
There you go. I say she does have a hair color.
No?
Okay. Brunette for me.
A brunette. All right.
Doesn't Party, matter party, as long as she has good teeth.
We're gonna leave that completely alone.
Yeah.
Lane is trolling for me to go places that this podcast is not gonna go. Hey,
That's awesome.
so wait. So before Chris answers, let me say, don't say redhead. Just and you know why.
Yeah. We don't need to talk about that.
That's a whole nother podcast.
X's and O's.
And oh,
Oh, my.
Definitely brunette.
brunettes. All right.
Since I married a Sicilian Armenian girl from the North Shore of Boston, I better say Burdette's or I'm dead meat.
You had probably had better say.
Yep.
And the anonymous female.
Mine is definitely just thinking over the guys I've dated or whatever. Definitely brunette.
Okay.
Very good.
This
Say-
is
say
a
all
this
my
is a
exes
brunette
live in
pack.
Texas again.
So
Right.
the next question, next question on my list is, what is your favorite genre of music?
Ooh.
Genre.
Down-tempo electronic.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Blues. Early 80s punk.
Nice.
Nice.
Early 90s alternative rock.
All right.
Jazz.
Ah. Ah.
I honestly don't have one. I can turn on the radio. I can't help it.
Non-answer.
Non-answer. Are you running for mayor next? I mean.
No, you can ask
No,
Mario.
Mario's
He
running
hears
for
my
mayor.
playlist. They're all over the place.
Yes. Oh, we can't talk about that
Who's
on
gonna
the
have to
No,
podcast.
we can't talk about that.
He's gonna have to run
That's not
against,
gonna work on the podcast.
Mario's gonna have to run against Carson McCullough.
That is not. That is not a play. You know what?
Just tell you.
Actually, I think me and Carson McCullough should run together. I think our platforms would be the same. But that is where I'm leaving
Called
that
the
question.
middle finger ticket.
Hey.
There may be a city boss on the ticket.
Hey.
Not the middle way.
So, I don't think anybody out there in podcast land, would be at all surprised that my favorite genre of music, of course, is hip
Hip
hop.
hop.
So, your favorite concert?
My favorite was probably whenever I went to see the Appleseed Cast at the Record Bar for their 10th year anniversary reunion. It was a small show, one of my favorite bands at the time, and it was fantastic. So that's my favorite show that I've been to.
For me, it's a tie
Mm-hmm.
between LL Cool J, R. Kelly, 90s,
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
and Blues Travelers, Lenny Kravitz, Roots, Cypress Hill,
Wow.
George Clinton.
Shit.
That's a hell of a show right there. That's a hell of
One
a
show,
show.
one
That's a
show,
hell of
one
a
show.
show.
Wow.
That is a good show.
Wow. Lane.
Emily's Toy Box, 2008, in Allentown, Pennsylvania, the day before New Year's.
Yeah.
That's a great one.
Emily's Toy Box.
Yeah, I'm not familiar.
I was about to say,
Me
yeah,
neither.
so all you in podcast land, do the Googles
Yep.
and look for Emily's Toy Box, so we can all be on the same page and know who that is, because that is, of course, is
Such hits as I'm the Bomb and Your Girlfriend is Ugly.
You know,
So is mine.
What genre?
Very punk.
Really?
Lane may never be invited back to this podcast again, ladies and gentlemen.
Like
But
a DMX fan?
Oh, absolutely.
Really?
Yeah.
No kidding. Okay.
Chris.
Chris,
I saw Dean Martin in 1989, 5 years before he died, I believe, with my dad at my high school graduation. It was the greatest moment of my life.
Dean Martin.
Loved it.
I think some of
I-
us have
I would
talked
have
about
to
this
say-
before.
That thing.
I saw the Roots and the Allman Brothers, and I'm a huge Allman Brothers fan, out at Sandstone.
The Roots and
Roots
the
and the
Allman
Allman
Yeah,
Brothers.
yeah.
Now,
Dick- Dick-
Outdoor venues, right?
Dickie Betts is still playing. They had Warren Powers, and they had the Trucks boy. He's out on his own. He's married to Susan Tedeschi now. I can't think of his first name. Great guitar, 3 fantastic guitar players there, and it was heaven on earth. I'm a huge Allman Brothers fan. Got very stoned and sat in front of a river for 3 hours and listened to them not long ago.
Awesome.
No, she have.
Mine was George Strait. Like it wasn't really called a festival, but there were 6 artists with him.
Wow.
Who was
Arrowhead.
it? George Strait?
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it was
George
George
is-
Strait.
Yeah, you
Big
weren't-
surprise.
You
That
weren't
is a surprise.
seeing
But I am
George Strait
surprised that you
No.
I've got a funny story.
Big
about
fan.
Yeah.
George Strait's
George
love.
Strait's
I've got a funny
Legendary.
story about George
Yeah.
Strait. I'll tell you later.
It was George Strait, Tim McGraw, Faith Hill, John Michael Montgomery, and a couple others. I
I'm
can't
sorry, it's
remember
Faith
now.
Hill and who
Was that an
else?
Arrowhead?
Tim McGraw.
Faith Hill and was anybody else? I can't remember.
There's little known country acts. Yeah. So,
You may have heard of him.
so your
Contract me
favorite,
bad.
Heard.
your favorite sports teams ever?
Oh.
Kansas City Royals.
All right.
Circa, what, just period?
Yeah, just now.
Yeah, that's what.
Like right
I'm
today.
I'm a bandwagon fan, so.
Okay. You know what? At least you admit it.
That works.
Some people don't admit it.
Yeah.
That's okay.
Raiders and Chiefs, both for me. It's
Yeah.
a tie.
Raiders and the Chiefs.
Yeah.
Raiders and Chiefs.
Well, he's spent time living in LA.
I understand,
And he's from here, so.
But that's an oxymoron.
I've got cast members on both. Pete Cox,
Hey, you better be
Swede.
diplomatic.
There you go. There you go. Like,
The Oakland Raiders pre-Al Davis losing his mind.
okay. All right.
I've been Chiefs #1 since day one. Will always be a Chiefs fan. 6 season tickets.
Man, you must like losers.
Except for
Now, we'll be nice.
I have to go with two teams because I grew up out here when I was a kid, and I saw Ben Davison spear Lenny Dawson. It was the first game I ever went to at Old Municipal Stadium, and they had the big fight. And back in those days, if you got a penalty, it was offsetting, and the play went back and got played again, and the Chiefs didn't get their first down, which Lenny had gotten, and they ended up with a 17-17 tie, and the Chiefs didn't make the playoff because Ben speared Lenny. And Otis Taylor came back and beat up, well, he tried to beat up Ben Davis. Nobody beats up Ben Davis. And then, of course, I'm a diehard Red Sox fan.
All right.
What?
Red Sox,
That's
baby,
legit.
all the way.
Anonymous female.
Mine's the Chiefs.
All right. And I am from Chicago, so really all of the Chicago teams, but I will say
Mike
of
Ditka.
all time, it is the 85 Bears.
Beat the Patriots.
Yeah, 85 Bears. Yeah, 85 Bears and the Dynasty Bulls.
Who doesn't love
Ditka or God? Trick question. Ditka is God.
Who doesn't love McMahon and
Well, McMahon doesn't know where he is right now.
right? But who
It's,
cares?
it's
85 Bears.
They were great.
Yeah,
Wow.
I say the shuffling crew.
Those 85
Ric
Bears should
Flair
go in the
or the
Rock and
$1
Roll
Million
Hall of
Man?
Fame
They should go in the Rock and Roll of Fame.
because they had a rap song.
They had the
They
Chicago
did.
Shuffle,
Sure.
whatever
It
it
is
was
true.
called.
The Super Bowl Shuffle.
Yes.
Super Bowl Shuffle, that's
Yes.
what it was.
Let's see. We've gotten to sports teams. So let's dial it back. Something you can answer quickly. Weekdays or weekends?
Weekdays.
Days.
Yeah.
Days for me as well.
All right.
Weekdays, that's when the money's made.
Always weekdays.
Yeah, weekdays, make money.
Anonymous female.
Weekends.
As the anonymous female would.
See, I like weekdays because I spend my weekends making money, actually.
So the next one is purely on the list for me because I am a comic and superhero geek. So your favorite superpower?
Teleportation.
Teleportation. All right.
First off, freeze.
Okay. All right. Well, I say, we did have a podcaster have to step away from the table for a second, so we may come back to his answer, but like
X-ray vision.
Oh, cool. Yeah.
not gonna touch that.
That's deep. That's a conversation.
Exactly.
Go Godzilla!
Godzilla.
Yeah.
So you're just tearing up and walking on buildings.
Yeah, just wants
Okay.
to
Tear down Tokyo.
tear it up. Yep.
That's not true. That is not what Godzilla was about.
Does he shoot
What was
laser
he
rays?
about?
First
He
of all, you
wasn't
gotta say it
about-
right.
Godzilla was
Godzilla
not about the.
was a badass.
Godzilla
man.
was
Come
not
on,
about the
Godzilla
people.
was a superhero all the way. Godzilla was a badass.
My
He was not. I'm doing this
superpower-
for my people. Just
Mine
so,
would be
Didn't expect
invisibility.
that, did you?
just to remind
I
you.
did not expect that.
Just to remind you, Malbec, Bushmills.
All right. Did you say
Invisibility.
invisibility? And like I said, we are still missing a person from the panel. So we'll actually ask the audience to see if they want to chime in. Do you have a favorite superpower, audience?
The ability to fly.
Fly.
Who?
Fly.
Where's that gonna get you?
Everywhere.
Wherever you want to go, I suppose.
Exactly, yeah.
Like American
Yeah.
Express.
Quickly.
But
Everywhere-
I could
wait,
just
that's
teleport to
Discovery.
where you're flying to.
I know.
Boom.
Or is that Visa? I
Yours
don't
was
know.
teleport.
Yeah.
All right. So,
2 flyers.
Yep.
actually, I think we have somebody coming back to the panel.
All right.
So,
Who's your favorite superhero?
what is your
No.
favorite
Just favorite
superpower?
Power.
Power.
Oh, superpower.
First off, top, first
It
thing,
would
go.
be X-ray vision.
Oh!
There's 2 of them.
All right, we have
Yeah.
2 X-ray visions
And
on
Jackie
the
knows
panel.
why.
All right.
I do know why.
All right, and we're also not going to touch
Anonymous
that
female
reason.
knows why.
We're also not going to touch that reason.
That's just a great way
Because
to
that's a
live your
whole
life.
nother podcast.
Season 1
all
or season
together.
2?
Air quotes, leering gaze.
Exactly. Now here's a good one, and I will preface this question by saying, brief answers, brief answers.
Brief answers.
What is your favorite curse word?
Ooh.
Is our favorite
I
what?
mean, come on.
Curse word. Come on,
Fuck.
people are waiting. Say it again.
Fuck.
Okay.
Fuck is always the best fucking answer.
Fail.
You know what? I believe for you, fail is a curse word.
That's awesome.
I will accept that. I will
That's
accept that.
Yeah.
I will accept
I want
that.
this guy on my team.
I will accept that.
For me, it will always be fuck because it's every part of speech under the song.
Yeah,
You can use it.
Ah, shit.
That is
You know what? I think that might be mine as well. But then I'm female.
Mine's fuck.
All right.
In any form or fashion. I went down the list the other day.
Which would be harder for you to give up? Coffee
Or blowjob.
or hey, you are cut off, sir. You are cut off. Which would be harder for you to give up?
Of the
Coffee or
podcast.
alcohol?
Coffee or alcohol?
Alcohol.
Coffee.
Coffee for sure.
alcohol.
Coffee.
Yeah, coffee.
Wow.
Coffee.
Definitely. What is? I'm not sure if I'm going to let Lane answer this question at all. What is your most bizarre talent?
Bizarre?
Not good.
Oh, man. I mean, I guess.
Chris is bowing out already.
I guess I'll say juggling.
Hey,
It's not bizarre.
No, I know, but I don't have any bizarre talents. I mean, that's just.
I mean,
that's the weirdest thing.
I don't think any of us knew you juggle, so hey.
No, that's good.
Being white, bald, tattooed, and singing soulful music.
Yes, and if you didn't hear the last podcast, Jesse spent a large chunk writing and singing R&B, ladies and gentlemen. Yes, R&B. And once again, when you watch Kill 'Em All Kansas City and you watch him put a slug in somebody's scalp, think about the fact that he was crooning not that long ago.
I was singing to you after I shot into you.
Killing them softly.
Clean and short answers, Lane. Clean and short answers.
5 fluent languages.
Okay.
Ah.
All right.
That's not bizarre
That's
either.
the cleanest
That's
thing that
awesome.
Blaine's come up with all night.
I know. I know.
That's legit.
Chris?
It is.
Weird talent.
It's not counting 45.
I said, I swear to God, this is not a non-answer. I don't have any weird talents. I just do normal.
Just do normal things.
Animal sounds.
Huh. Baboon.
As he has demonstrated.
Yep.
with-
Turkey.
That's good.
Was that the baboon?
No, it's a turkey.
I was just like, because no,
You've been in Chicago way too long.
No, Jesse said baboon, and then you did that sound. I was like, was that the baboon?
That is the mating call of Donald Trump.
We almost got through an entire podcast, ladies and gentlemen, without talking about anything political. And we're not going to start now.
I don't have one.
Okay.
Jive turkey.
Anonymous female is bowing out.
That was a jive turkey.
All right. So
You
our
already heard
next.
my pitch.
No.
So we only have a few questions left.
Oh, sorry.
So who is or was your celebrity crush?
Oh.
Easy.
Oh shit, I forgot her name.
I got that.
What's she in?
She really meant
Game
a
of
lot
Thrones.
to you.
Oh, well, there's only one female in Game of Thrones.
Well, there's the.
The super hot
Are you
blonde.
talking Khaleesi?
Yes, thank you. You know,
Super hot
with
blonde.
the sideways mouth.
Super hot blonde.
Yeah.
That's all.
Talking
That's all you
Khaleesi?
need to say.
No,
With
no,
the sideways mouth.
no, it's not Amelia Clark. I'm not talking about Khaleesi. It's
What's her character?
Well,
Super hot blonde.
she's super hot blonde.
That's her name in the script.
She was sister to the gay king, right?
Oh,
Why's he gonna be gay?
Google.
She's not
'Cause he is.
blonde.
Google it, listeners.
Yeah, she's.
Let's know.
while they are
Yeah,
trying,
let's-
Jesse.
while they're trying to do the Googles, Jesse.
Eva Mendes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Who?
That's a damn good one.
Interesting.
Eva Mendes.
Eva Mendes.
Not bad. Not
Kate
bad at all.
Hudson.
Okay.
Good call.
Nice.
Both good calls.
You said brunettes, and then you said...
No, I said all the above as long
Oh,
as they have
that's
good
right.
teeth.
That's right. You did. You were the only one that wasn't specific.
This is true.
I'll keep this exceptionally brief.
Yeah.
Penelope Cruz has probably always been my all-time favorite.
Really?
I think she's the most attractive. Ashley Judd was second on that list, and I had a chance to meet her, and it was so weird that I was not on her list.
Actually,
And we had a chin. Now it just ended up going bad. So I thought I had a shot.
that is for a completely separate podcast. ladies
Hey,
and
does this
gentlemen.
smell like chloroform?
I have two. I have a very old school and a somewhat old school, because I'm old school. My old school is Sophia Loren.
Yeah, that's legit.
And my second old school is Cher.
Oh,
Legit. Legit.
Really?
Allman Brothers fan.
Legit.
There you go.
Natalie Dormer.
Okay.
Wait, hold
Oh.
on. Who's Natalie Dormer?
She's on Game
Star
of
Wars?
Let's
Thrones.
see.
She's on Game
No,
of
you're
Thrones.
thinking
Natalie
of Portman.
No.
Oh,
Yeah.
never mind.
Yeah.
All right.
They're showing pictures
Her
on.
hair is naturally brown.
They're
That's
showing
why I was
pictures on the
thinking.
phone
right
She was
now.
on Tutors
That makes
as
sense.
well.
Hater?
I'm surprised you didn't
I
say
don't hate her.
Melania Trump.
I was gonna say your
Hater 'cause
mom,
she's
but
No, I was like, she doesn't have blonde hair, but I was thinking she's naturally a brunette.
What?
Yeah, reeling it in, reeling it in, reeling
Which goes back to your,
in.
I like brunette.
I've had to do a lot of reeling it in on this episode of the podcast, ladies and gentlemen.
Oh, crush?
Yeah.
Is
Is or was?
Was.
Female.
Oh gosh, for
Uh-oh.
so.
Here we go.
Direct.
For so long, it was Tom Cruise when I was growing up. When he was, younger.
Tom Cruise.
And now I really don't have one.
I'm calling bullshit on
It's
that.
probably The Rock.
Yeah, thank you. I'm gonna say I'm calling bullshit.
Hell, I've got
There
a
we
crush
go.
on The Rock.
Dwayne
Yeah,
Johnson.
everybody got a crush on the Rock.
Although he's just getting a little out of hand.
He's a little too big. He's getting too big.
A little bit.
Only in the arms, right?
hold on.
Yeah. Yeah.
John Rieger has a bigger caucus.
Jesse's a White Rock.
We're kicking Lane out of the podcast. This is what we're doing, ladies and gentlemen. Okay, so we only got 3 more.
Cool.
If you could eat one meal for the rest of your life,
Oh,
What would
Calories didn't matter.
yeah, calories be damned.
wow.
What would it be?
Red wine and cocoa braised beef cheek over rosemary and garlic mashed potatoes. with a mirepoix.
God damn.
This is why we always want somebody
you
from the
say goat
hospitality
cheese?
industry
Wow.
sitting here on the panel because they're the only ones who are going to come up with a meal
Jackie,
that
wait till I cook
intricate.
it for you.
That sounds delicious.
Don't tell me what it is before you cook it.
Yeah, my father said the same thing actually.
I
All right,
I
Jesse.
wouldn't be able to get out of my head.
Jesse.
Chicken marsala for me.
Oh.
You got protein, you've got green, and you got starch.
Oh yeah,
All right.
Boulevas and burnt cheese croutons.
nice.
Ah,
Very nice.
nice.
Yes.
So for Christmas, I got a grilled cheese maker that puts a picture of Jesus on your grilled cheese.
Hallelujah!
That'll be what you eat for
Cheeses.
Hallelujah.
They call the grilled cheeses, so I make pesto grilled cheese with a face of God on it.
Now, do you
All
cut it in a
kinds.
square or in diagonal?
My favorite meal is in Hampton Beach, New Hampshire, Little Jack's Lobster Pound. You can get a pound and a half of lobster, half ear of corn, some coleslaw, and a cold beer for $16.
Fantastic.
Now, if you haven't heard in his accent,
It's very Boston.
he has spent some time in the New England area of the country because I love Big Dave's
It's a
accent.
New Orleans Bostonian accent.
It's a Yankee coon-ass accent.
The anonymous female.
My mom's spaghetti and meatballs.
Delicious.
That really is sweet.
We've actually had another member of the panel get up, move away from the table, so we may come back to his answer. If you could read minds, whose would you want to read?
Dead or alive?
Dead or alive? Yes.
Isaac Newton.
I would be afraid.
Oh,
To
I
read his mind.
would get far and lost in that. It'd be
I
fantastic.
would cut my left arm off to be able to read my wife's mind.
All right. I say
You know how you could do that, right? Just ask her a question.
No, I do, and then she gives me non-answers like the anonymous female, leaving me to interpret them.
Oh, that is one thing you would never have to worry about with me.
she'll answer your question.
I will answer the question.
But even then, is that really the truth?
We gotta go back to Jesse.
All right,
Well,
Jesse.
are we back on
About-
whose mind would we read?
Yeah, whose
My
mind?
wife's.
If you could read minds, whose
Yeah.
mind would you read?
I'm
Jesse?
married. My wife's.
Okay.
Yeah,
Thank you.
for sure. Yeah.
No, I'd want to read mine and know what the hell I was thinking. But half the time I was doing stuff.
Before you got married?
Hey, I don't know what I'm doing half the time. I should really stop and think about it.
Me too.
Dave?
Brings to mind an old Moody Blues song. Timothy Leary's dead. I like to read Timothy Leary's mind.
Yeah,
Oh, man.
absolutely.
That's a good one.
Wow.
Got a story.
What?
I have a million of that, dude.
Anonymous female.
I said some, probably some president like Obama or Kennedy or, I don't know
That's
if I
good.
would want to
That's
read
good.
anybody's mind that I know. I would
Yeah.
probably prefer
Probably
not to.
wouldn't want to read Kennedy's mind.
All right.
I might.
It's a lot of back pain, painkillers, Marilyn Monroe, and then a big giant black spot.
Could you imagine
I like
me
the way- I like
reading
where
his
that went.
mind when he got shot?
Yeah.
Could you imagine that?
Yeah.
What?
that'd be weird.
Hold on.
Reading
What?
Kennedy's mind when he got shot.
Is that a shooter
Like the
in the bushes?
moment he got shot.
That's when your favorite cuss word comes out. It's called "oh shit."
Is that a shooter in
That
the
was perfect, Dave. That was perfect.
Yep.
All right, so the last question,
Is that a shooter in the
and
building?
and this, take a second before you answer because this is a one word or very short phrase answer.
All right.
So, my name is, and state your name. So remember, you're going to repeat this whole thing. My name is, and I am. And I am is a one word or very short phrase answer. So, my name is.
My name is Ben Roberts, and I'm a human on the planet Earth, just like everybody else.
My name is Jesse Pringle, and I am addicted to success is my first word.
Nice.
Clean. Had to preface all these things for Lane, ladies and
You
gentlemen.
I have
can see
to,
the wheels
I have
turning.
to pass it to Chris. It looked like he was gonna say.
My name is Lane Boland, and I kill more shit than cancer.
Awesome.
Actually, a true statement for another podcast audience.
I'm Chris O'Connor, and I'm perfectly happy just being that.
My name is David Elliott, and I am a survivor.
Heard it, love it.
Yep.
I can't state my name.
Well, you can say you are the
My
anonymous.
name
You
is
say
the
you're
anonymous
anonymous
female.
female, which I can't say very well from my accent.
And I am an eternal optimist.
Love it. Yes, you are.
Mm.
Well said.
That's why you're
Mario?
here.
And,
Mario,
you know, actually, I am.
that's why you're here.
I am going to
You're
answer
the
this
only
one.
optimist on the
I'm going to answer this one because I think we're probably at the best place to end the podcast. My name is Rio, and I am your host, and I hope to be your host for a long, long time. So, with that said,
Like it.
I want to thank everybody for tuning in to the Loft Party Podcast, where it is always good times, good people, and good talk. And as always, I want to end our podcast with the toast that started this all for me. And that is, if everybody wants to raise their glass.
Hold on, you have to charge a glass.
All right, we're filling glasses right now. We're filling glasses right now. To good times with good people.
Yeah.
Yeah.